Stray voltage is a dangerous condition where electricity strays from its intended path, flowing through unintended conductors like the ground or metal objects. This can pose a significant electrocution risk to people and animals. The New York State Public Service Commission, or PSC, has taken notice of incidents involving stray voltage, including fatalities, and has issued a report with proposed new requirements for electric utilities operating in New York State. This stems from the fact that utilities are responsible for maximizing the safety of their electrical systems. The PSC recognizes that stray voltage can exist on nearly any facility that conducts electricity and contacts cables. These new regulations aim to minimize the public's exposure to stray voltage. The proposed requirements involve multiple areas of focus for the utilities. Firstly, utilities will be required to inspect their facilities for the presence of stray voltage. Secondly, they must take immediate corrective action to mitigate any hazards that are identified during inspections. Thirdly, new standards are being established for the design, construction, and maintenance of electrical facilities. These standards will minimize the potential for stray voltage issues to arise in the first place. Fourthly, utilities are required to educate their customers and the public about the dangers of stray voltage. This education should include information on how to recognize potential hazards and how to avoid them. The PSC intention is for these requirements to apply uniformly to all electric utilities under its jurisdiction, regardless of whether they are located in urban or rural areas. This shows a commitment to statewide safety. Utilities will likely need to realign their management focus to comply with these new regulations, considering that some utilities have not adequately addressed stray voltage in the past. While specific technical details of the proposal will be developed and refined, the general guidelines include several key areas that must be addressed. These areas include inspection procedures, equipment upgrades, grounding practices, and public awareness campaigns. It is important to understand the nature of stray voltage. It's not simply about high voltage shocks. Even low levels of stray voltage can cause discomfort or, in certain situations, be dangerous, especially for individuals with pre-existing health conditions or animals. Stray voltage can originate from a variety of sources. It can be caused by faulty wiring, damaged insulation, corroded equipment, or improper grounding. It is important for utilities to have robust systems in place to detect and address these issues promptly. The inspection process involves using specialized equipment to measure voltage levels on various metallic surfaces. This includes manhole covers, streetlights, fences, and other objects that could potentially become energized. When stray voltage is detected, utilities must take immediate action to isolate the source of the problem and implement repairs. This may involve replacing damaged equipment, improving grounding connections, or implementing other mitigation measures. The new design and construction standards will focus on ensuring that electrical facilities are built with adequate insulation, proper grounding, and other features that minimize the risk of stray voltage. This may involve using higher quality materials, implementing redundant grounding systems, and employing more robust construction techniques. Public awareness campaigns will be crucial in educating the public about the dangers of stray voltage. This could involve distributing informational brochures, conducting public service announcements, and partnering with community organizations to raise awareness. It is worth noting that the PSC actions are not unique. Other states and countries have also implemented regulations and programs to address stray voltage. This is a growing concern worldwide, as electrical infrastructure ages and becomes more susceptible to problems. The PSC will likely monitor the effectiveness of these new regulations and make adjustments as necessary. This is an ongoing process that requires continuous improvement and adaptation. In the meantime, it is important for the public to be aware of the potential dangers of stray voltage and to take precautions to protect themselves. This includes avoiding contact with metallic surfaces that could potentially be energized, reporting any suspected stray voltage incidents to the utility company, and educating others about the risks. These new regulations are intended to improve public safety and reduce the risk of electrocution. The utilities are responsible for implementing these regulations effectively, and the PSC will oversee their efforts. The goal is to create a safer environment for everyone in New York State. When a utility performs the stray voltage inspection, the process typically involves using specialized equipment to measure the voltage potential between a metallic object, such as a manhole cover or streetlight pole, and a known ground point. A reading exceeding a certain threshold, typically a few volts, indicates the presence of stray voltage. Once stray voltage is detected, the utility must investigate the source. This can involve tracing the electrical circuits back to the substation or transformer to identify the point where the current is leaking. The investigation often involves visual inspections of equipment, insulation testing, and ground resistance measurements. Common causes of stray voltage include damaged or deteriorated cable insulation, which allows current to leak into the surrounding soil. Another cause is corroded or loose grounding connections, which prevent fault current from returning to the source. Improperly installed or maintained electrical equipment can also contribute to stray voltage. After identifying the source, the utility must take corrective actions to eliminate the stray voltage. This may involve replacing damaged cables, repairing or replacing faulty equipment, improving grounding connections, or reconfiguring the electrical system. The corrective action should be performed by qualified personnel and in accordance with established safety procedures. Utilities often use a combination of methods to mitigate stray voltage. One common method is to install ground rods near the affected area to provide a low resistance path for the stray current to flow back to the source. Another method is to bond metallic objects, such as fences and pipelines, to the electrical system's grounding network. This helps to equalize the voltage potential between the objects and the ground, reducing the risk of shock. Some utilities use specialized equipment to inject a small amount of current into the ground to counteract the stray voltage. This method, known as active voltage mitigation, requires careful monitoring and control to avoid creating new problems. The new regulations will likely require utilities to implement preventative maintenance programs to reduce the risk of stray voltage. These programs may include periodic inspections of electrical equipment, insulation testing, and ground resistance measurements. The regulations may also require utilities to use corrosion-resistant materials in underground electrical systems to extend the lifespan of the equipment. Public education is another key component of the regulations. Utilities will be required to provide information to customers and the public about the dangers of stray voltage and how to report suspected problems. The information may be distributed through brochures, websites, public service announcements, and community outreach programs. The regulations will likely specify the minimum qualifications and training requirements for utility personnel who perform stray voltage inspections and mitigation work. This is to ensure that the work is performed safely and effectively. The regulations may also require utilities to track and report stray voltage incidents to the PSC. This data will help the PSC to monitor the effectiveness of the regulations and identify areas where improvements are needed. The PSC will likely conduct periodic audits of utilities to ensure compliance with the regulations. The audits may involve reviewing utility records, interviewing personnel, and conducting field inspections. Utilities that fail to comply with the regulations may be subject to penalties such as fines or other enforcement actions. In some cases, utilities may be required to develop and implement corrective action plans to address the deficiencies. The PSC may also work with other state agencies, such as the Department of Environmental Conservation, to address stray voltage issues that may be related to environmental contamination. Stray voltage can also be a concern in agricultural settings where it can affect livestock. The new regulations may include specific provisions to address stray voltage in agricultural areas. This is intended to protect both humans and animals from the hazards of stray voltage. Stray voltage can sometimes be difficult to detect, as it may fluctuate over time and vary depending on environmental conditions. Utilities may need to use advanced diagnostic techniques to identify the source of the problem. The regulations may encourage utilities to invest in research and development to improve stray voltage detection and mitigation technologies. The PSC may also work with universities and research institutions to advance the state of knowledge in this area. These efforts are to ensure public safety. The new regulations demonstrate the importance of addressing stray voltage to ensure public safety. While utilities have always had a responsibility to maintain their electrical systems, the new regulations will formalize and strengthen these requirements. Stray voltage is not always a steady-state condition. It can be influenced by factors such as weather, load conditions on the electrical system, and the presence of other electrical equipment nearby. Utilities may need to use sophisticated monitoring systems to track stray voltage levels over time and identify trends. The regulations may require utilities to implement these monitoring systems. The regulations may also address the issue of induced voltage, which is a type of stray voltage that can occur when metallic objects are located near high voltage power lines. Induced voltage can be a concern even when there is no direct contact with the electrical system. Utilities may need to take steps to mitigate induced voltage, such as grounding metallic objects or installing shielding. The regulations will likely require utilities to coordinate with other stakeholders, such as municipalities and other utility companies, to address stray voltage issues that may affect multiple parties. This coordination may involve sharing information, conducting joint investigations, and implementing coordinated mitigation measures. The PSC may also establish a statewide stray voltage task force to facilitate communication and collaboration among stakeholders. The task force may include representatives from utilities, municipalities, state agencies, and the public. In addition to the technical aspects of stray voltage mitigation, the regulations may also address the legal and regulatory framework for addressing stray voltage claims. This may include establishing procedures for investigating and resolving complaints, as well as defining the liability of utilities for stray voltage incidents. The regulations may also encourage utilities to develop and implement customer assistance programs to help customers who are affected by stray voltage. These programs may include providing financial assistance for repairs or other mitigation measures. The PSC actions demonstrate a proactive approach to addressing the issue of stray voltage and protecting public safety. It is expected that these new regulations will significantly reduce the risk of electrocution and other hazards associated with stray voltage in New York State.